Be no laughing matter. Something serious. Antibiotic resistance is no laughing matter. Be no match for SBSTH. To be inferior to someone or something. Manual analysis is no match for automated systems. Be no mean feat used to emphasize that an act or achievement is very difficult. Completing the genome sequencing in under 24 hours is no mean feat. Be no mean feat a very difficult achievement. Landing the probe was no mean feat. Be no mean feat something very difficult to achieve. Sequencing the genome was no mean feat. Be nothing if not STH. Used to emphasize equality. The researcher was nothing if not persistent. Be on good form. Performing or feeling well. The athlete was on good form during testing. Be on your guard. Be ready for danger or difficulty. Doctors must be on their guard for side effects. Be on your guard. Idiom. To be ready to deal with something difficult that might happen. The researchers remained on guard for any signs of contamination. Be on cloud 9. To be extremely happy. The team was on cloud 9 after success. Be on cloud 9. Be extremely happy. The team was on cloud 9 after success. Be on edge. To be nervous or worried. The researchers were on edge waiting for the experimental results. Be on edge. To feel nervous or anxious. Participants were on edge before the exam. Be on good or bad, friendly, etc. terms, phrase. To have a good or bad, etc. relationship with someone. The research teams were on good terms, facilitating collaboration. Be on the brink of STH. To be in a situation where something bad is about to happen. The ecosystem was on the brink of collapse due to invasive species. Be on the brink of STH. Close to a serious event. The species is on the brink of extinction. Be on the cards. Be likely to happen. Failure was on the cards without funding. Be on the same wavelength. Think in a similar way. Collaborators were on the same wavelength. Be on the same wavelength. Idiom. If two people are on the same wavelength, they have the same way of thinking and it is easy for them to understand each other. The two scientists were on the same wavelength regarding the design of the experiment. Be on the verge of STH doing STH. About to happen. The reaction was on the verge of completion. Be on the verge of STH doing STH, phrase. To be going to happen or to do something very soon. The species was on the verge of extinction due to habitat loss. Be only human. To not be perfect. Scientists are only human and occasionally make errors in their calculations. Be only human. Not perfect. Forgetting details is only human. Be out of the question. Impossible or not allowed. It is out of the question to conduct experiments without proper safety gear. Be out of this world. Idiom. To be of extremely good quality. The new microscope is out of this world in terms of clarity. Be overcome by. Be suddenly affected by emotion. He was overcome by fear. Be poles apart. Idiom. To be complete opposites. Qualitative interviews and quantitative metrics are often poles apart in methodology. Be poles apart. Idiom. Completely opposite. Their opinions on climate policy are poles apart. Be posted to France, London, Singapore. Sent to work in a location. He was posted to Singapore for 2 years. Be prone to STH doing STH. Often do or suffer from something. Children are prone to catching colds during winter. Be reliant on STH. To depend on someone or something. Modern laboratories are reliant on electricity and precise instruments. Be revolted by STH. To think that something is extremely unpleasant. The scientist was revolted by the contamination of samples. Be running at STH. To be at a particular level. The centrifuge was running at 5,000 revolutions per minute during the test. Be slow to do STH, be slow in doing STH. To take a long time to do something. The computer was slow to process the data due to memory limitations. Be snowed in, verb. To be unable to leave a place because there is too much snow. The team was snowed in at the field station for 3 days. Be snowed under, verb. To have too much work. She was snowed under with data analysis before the conference. Be something. To be a thing which is important, special, or useful. This discovery is something that will influence future research. Be still going strong. Continuing to be successful or healthy after a long time. The vintage lab instruments are still going strong after decades of use. Be still going strong, idiom. Continuing to be successful or healthy after a long time. The research institute is still going strong after 50 years. Be streets ahead of SBSTHE idiom. To be much better or more advanced than someone or something else. Her analytical skills were streets ahead of her peers. Be the center of attention. Receive most attention. The anomaly became the center of attention after replication failed. Be the envy of SB, to be liked and wanted by someone. The innovative laboratory design was the envy of other research teams. Be the tip of the iceberg, idiom, countable noun. To be a small part of a very big problem. The minor data error was just the tip of the iceberg in the flawed experiment. Be the tip of the iceberg, idiom. To be a small part of a very big problem. The minor contamination was just the tip of the iceberg in the failing experiment. Be topped with STH, the verb. To be covered with something. The cake was topped with edible gold leaf for the science fair. Be underway, verb. To be already happening. The experiment was underway when the unexpected reaction occurred. Be underway, verb. To be already happening. The survey of endangered species was underway across multiple habitats. Be wasted on SBE, verb. To be clever or of high quality in a way that someone will not understand or enjoy. The complex mathematical proof was wasted on the students who had not studied calculus. Be wide awake. Fully awake. Subjects were wide awake during cognitive testing. Be wide awake, idiom. To be completely awake. After the strong coffee, she was wide awake and ready to analyze the data. Be worth your while, phrase. If it is worth your while doing something, it is useful or enjoyable to do it. It is worth your while to attend the workshop on laboratory safety. Be worth your while, phrase. If it is worth your while doing something, it is useful or enjoyable to do it. It was worth their while attending the international conference to gain insights into new research techniques. Be feel on top of the world, idiom. To be very happy. The researcher felt on top of the world after publishing a breakthrough paper. Be feel on top of the world, idiom. To be very happy. She felt on top of the world after publishing her first paper. Be feel under the weather, idiom. To feel ill. Several lab members were under the weather during the intensive field study. Be feel under the weather, idiom. To feel ill. The technician was feeling under the weather and took a day off from the lab. Be a get out of touch. Not aware of recent changes. The report shows officials are out of touch. Be a get out of touch, phrase. To know little about what has recently happened. After months abroad, he was out of touch with the lab's progress. Be get stuck with SBLSTH. To have to deal with someone or something unpleasant because no one else wants to. She was stuck with the faulty equipment until replacements arrived. Be have yet to do STH, phrase. To not have done something that was expected before this time. The team has yet to publish the final results of the study. Be run counter to STH. To have the opposite effect to something else. The new hypothesis runs counter to previous assumptions in molecular biology. Bear have child. To give birth. Mammals bear live young after gestation. Bear a grudge. To keep negative feelings. Machines do not bear grudges, their outputs depend solely on inputs. Bear a resemblance to. To be similar to. The synthetic polymer bears a close resemblance to natural collagen. Bear a little no resemblance to STH noun. To be similar, not similar, somewhat similar to something or someone. The sample bears little resemblance to the original specimen due to contamination. Bear fruit. To produce successful results. Long-term investment in training eventually bore fruit in higher retention rates. Beat, sound. To make a regular sound by hitting. The heart beats rhythmically to maintain circulation. Bed, bottom. Ground at the bottom of water. Sediments accumulate on the river bed over time. Bed, ground. A prepared area for plants. The experimental plots were arranged in raised beds. Before, importance. Treated as more important. Safety was placed before efficiency in system design. Behind, not affecting. No longer affecting. Early failures are behind the project after redesign. Behind closed doors, idiom. Privately. Budget decisions were negotiated behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, idiom. Privately and not in public. The committee discussed the sensitive experiment results behind closed doors. Behind SB's back. Without someone knowing. Policy changes were implemented behind researchers' backs. Behind SB's back. Without someone knowing. Policy changes were enacted behind the team's back. Behind the scenes, idiom. Secretly. Calibration occurred behind the scenes before public release. Behind the scenes, idiom. If something happens secretly. Important lab adjustments are often done behind the scenes to ensure safety. Belief, effective. A feeling of confidence in effectiveness. There is growing belief in the therapy's efficacy. Below, rank. Lower in rank. Technicians report to supervisors below executive rank. Bend or stretch the rules. To allow someone to do something not usually allowed. The lab supervisor bent the rules to let students finish experiments past closing time. Beneath, not good enough. Considered unworthy. Manual data entry was deemed beneath the system's capabilities. Beneath your dignity. Considered too low status. Routine tasks were not beneath her dignity during emergencies. Beneath your dignity. Too important or of too high a class to do something. The professor felt it was beneath his dignity to argue over trivial lab disputes. Beside the point. Irrelevant. Aesthetic preferences are beside the point in safety testing. Beside the point. Not relevant. His comments were interesting but beside the point. Bet, risk. When you risk money on a result. Speculators placed a bet on the stock rising after the earnings report. Beyond, SB's, reach. Not possible for someone to have. The solution remained beyond reach for underfunded laboratories. Beyond, SB's, reach. Not possible for someone to have. The rare element was beyond the reach of standard laboratory equipment. Beyond, time. Continuing after a particular time. The experiment continued beyond midnight due to slow reaction kinetics. Beyond belief. Extreme or unbelievable. The data volume was beyond belief for legacy systems. Beyond belief. Too extreme to be real. The magnitude of the earthquake was beyond belief for the local seismologists. Beyond dispute. Certain or certainly. The correlation between smoking and lung cancer is beyond dispute. Beyond dispute. Certain or undeniable. The correlation between smoking and lung cancer is beyond dispute. Beyond your wildest dreams. Bigger or better than imagined. The telescope images were beyond the astronomer's wildest dreams. Beyond your wildest dreams, idiom. Bigger or better than anything you could imagine. The discovery of a new enzyme exceeded the researcher's wildest dreams. Beyond your wildest dreams, idiom. Bigger or better than anything you could imagine or hope for. The research grant was beyond their wildest dreams. Beyond without the shadow of a doubt. If something is true beyond a shadow of a doubt, it is certainly true. It was beyond a shadow of a doubt that the chemical reaction produced the expected compound. Beyond without the shadow of a doubt, idiom. If something is true, it is certainly true. The experiment confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt that the hypothesis was correct. Bias. Unfair support or opposition due to personal opinion. Confirmation bias can distort data interpretation in clinical trials. Bid. To offer to pay money for something. Researchers bid $10,000 for the high-resolution microscope at auction. Bid, attempt. An attempt to achieve something. The research team made a bid to sequence the genome within a week. Bid, buy. An offer to pay a particular amount. The institute placed a bid for the new spectrometer. Bind, tie. To tie something together. Plastic straps were used to bind the sample tubes securely. Bind, unite. To unite people. The conference helped bind researchers from multiple disciplines. Bits and pieces. Small unconnected things or jobs. The lab was organized by bits and pieces of leftover equipment. Bits and pieces. Small unconnected things. She collected bits and pieces for the collage. Blackmail. Forcing someone using threats. The whistleblower faced threats amounting to blackmail after exposing safety violations. Blackmail, verb. To force someone by threats. The hacker attempted to blackmail the institution to release data. Bland, boring. Not interesting. The lecture was technically accurate but bland. Bland, no taste. Not having much taste. The culture medium was bland but supported microbial growth. Blank, no feeling. Showing no feeling or understanding. The participant's expression was blank during the complex demonstration. Blanket, layer. A thick layer of something. A blanket of nitrogen gas protected the reactive sample from oxidation. Bleak, cold. Cold, empty, and unattractive. The Arctic Research Station appeared bleak under the winter sky. Bleak, no hope. Little or no hope. Without intervention, the prognosis was bleak. Blend. A combination of two or more things. The soil sample was a blend of clay, silt, and sand. Blindness. Not noticing or understanding. The scientist's blindness to experimental error delayed publication. Blister. A painful raised area on skin or surface. The heat caused a blister to form on the polymer coating. Block, stop progress. Something that makes progress difficult. Regulatory hurdles act as a block to rapid vaccine deployment. Block, verb. To stop something from happening. Excessive sediment blocked the river flow. Blood, family origin. The family you come from. Many scientists follow in the blood of their parents' profession. Bloody, anger. Used to emphasize anger. The researcher was bloody furious when the sample was contaminated. Blow, bad event. An unexpected damaging event. The sudden funding cut was a blow to the ongoing study. Blow, hit. A hard hit. The hammer delivered a precise blow to the test apparatus. Blow, sound. To make a sound by forcing air. The musician blew through the flute to produce a clear tone. Blow it your chances. To lose an opportunity. He blew his chance to present at the international conference by missing the deadline. Blow your mind. To excite or surprise greatly. The new visualization software blew the team's mind with interactive 3D models. Blow your mind. To amaze or surprise greatly. The discovery blew the scientific community's mind. Blue, sad. Feeling sad. Participants were blue after their experimental design failed unexpectedly. Blunt, not sharp. Not sharp. The scalpel remained blunt after repeated use, reducing precision in dissections. Blunt, rude. Saying exactly what you think without caring about people's feelings. The reviewer was blunt in feedback, highlighting methodological flaws without sugarcoating. Boast, have. If a place has something good, it has it. The research facility boasts state-of-the-art imaging equipment. Body, group. An official group of people who work together. The ethics body approved the clinical trial protocol.